In 1846, an Aputure Carl Friedrich ZEISS opened a little workshop in Vienna, Germany for manufacturing microscope glass. And this small workshop achieved to be a giant camera and a lens manufacturer that represent Germany, being swayed by the destiny of chaotic world history. Then, in 21st century, I have this lens in my hand. Something has been missing in the creativity today. What is that? Sony, Sigma, and Tamron. They are making great efforts to make a new, high quality but also small and light lenses that many people want. We must appreciate it. But I just want to recall that there is the unique and one and only brand, while others are making similar lenses in a tough competition. No offense. Carl ZEISS. Its history, philosophy, the design, and the depiction. In any aspect, nothing is like ZEISS. It's totally living outside of competition, living in its own life. But a certain amount of people are so into ZEISS, even though it's not newest, it's not a very easy to use like Sigma and Tamron. So that is exactly why I'm suggesting this lens to you now. We are surrounded by the convenience, which forces us to depend on the high quality, spec, usability, versatility, forgetting that we grab the camera for making art, for expressing ourselves. But I think this lens still has the essence. It has what it's supposed to. So this time we deep dive into the ZEISS attraction with particularly this ZEISS Batis 40mm f2 lens. And I want you to feel that this is the art which creates art. This video will give you the great inspiration for your creativity in the future, so yeah, watch this until the end. Tool and human motivate your sensibility. So first attraction is sophisticated design. Look at this beautiful curve. Is it camera lens or the work of art? You know what, I'm just in love with this, cannot describe super attractive design. It's so simple and minimal, but that makes it so gorgeous, but eventually it's like the final destination of simplism. But the feel when you grab this is so amazing. You might think, Sigma and Tamron fit in your hand much better, but actually, this holding feel is so right. Especially the ring. It just has the perfect pressure. It's relatively heavy, but ridiculously smooth and natural. And this material, I think it's rubber, but the texture is so nice. It holds my fingers very well. That gives me the fine focus control. And this display, it tells you the focus distance and the depth of field. It'll be so helpful for night shooting when the autofocus doesn't work really well, or you can, enjoy shooting with a classic style, like with eye measurement focus, like we used to do in film time. I don't know about this, but I felt this, crafting spirit is coming from old days when, ZEISS was making manual focus lenses for film cameras. This focus ring gives you the slow and really good quality moment to face the subject. Of course, this has autofocus, but I had a really good time using manual focus on this lens. So that's why I wanted AF/MF switch here instead of this autofocus distance switch. It's at full all the time, so it basically, to me, this switch doesn't mean anything. So if you have never touched this ZEISS lens before, you might think, this is kind of heavy and massive, but it's not. It's unbelievably light. It weighs 361 grams. That's it. And it's smaller than you think. And when it's on the camera body, the balance is just perfect. Hold on, not yet. It's too soon to understand the ZEISS attraction. This design is just the entrance, it's the tip of iceberg. What I like most about this lens is... So from next, let's dive into the ZEISS attractive depiction. First, the Listless Perspective. What I mean by that is, okay, this 40mm is kind of strange in a good way. It's not tight as 50mm or it's not wide as 35mm, it's 40mm. 35 and 50mm are very common in prime lenses focal length, but 40mm is kind of unique, right? But this 40mm gives you the seeing the world objectively from the position where you step back a little feel. It's not too focused on the subject, but not too far from it. The focal length 40mm is kind of vague and unclear, but it helps you to see the world objectively. Like it's kind of hard to describe this feel, but I'm able not to be obsessed with views I see. You know, I can stay a little, away from the phenomenon in front of me. It's just this perspective is so great for street stuffs. But also this lens gives you the concentrated perspective. Normally it's listless and lifeless perspective, but the minimum focus distance is 24 centimeters, which gives us this detailed shot. This close focus is really helpful to catch the detailed face of subject. So basically you can be relaxed and easy and casual saying it's none of my business with this lens, but sometimes you can be serious about the world you live. I really like this two-faced personality. So next is brutal real depiction. What? But that's, pretty much everything I can do. Anyway, just look at this depiction. It has really strong contrast, especially when there is a strong light. The shadow and highlights separate so clearly. I like this type of image, so I made it that way. But originally, footages were strong and contrasty already. I just love this kind of image with a certain world. Definitely it's different from other lenses. I thought this high contrast look helps me to create this kind of abstract world. And this sharpness, maybe some people think, okay, this is too much. I know even I sometimes reduce the sharpness at the post. But this sharpness is the ZEISS attraction, When you find a good editing spot, the image will be the golden. Absolutely love this polished, sharp image. This high contrast and sharp depiction makes me able to shoot and edit as I shoot with film. I like shoot with a film because for me it's easy to express the raw and true real world. Most of the time my images are very contrasty and sharp, and I get pretty close feeling for this lens. It depicts the brutally real and raw image for me. I mean, it's sad because it's too real. I know what I see because I see it by my own eyes, but maybe somewhere somewhere deep in my mind, I hope, there is a miracle and fantasy, but this ZEISS lens is so cruel. It just shows me the world as is. I just love this cruelness of ZEISS. It fits my style. Also, this lens is f2 and 40mm, so you can get the big gap of detail and unclarity. Where it's focused on has a good detail, and from there everything gets blurred gradually and the background is completely fuzzy. f2 is not too much, but definitely gives you the good bokeh. I think it's at very natural spot, especially for portrait. And of course, it's strong and low light shooting. f2 is not only bright, it also gives you the low aperture dramatic lighting effect. Overall, the image is pretty sharp, but the way the light spreads out is very creepy. And f2 helps you to keep ISO low. And the last and biggest attraction is the color of sorrow. I think this is related to the brutal real depiction, but the original footage, like raw footage straight out from the camera, is a little shifted to the cold temperature. Especially this is just raw file, even though it was around 4 or 5 p.m. with warm sunlight, but overall temperature is shifted to blue, especially this shadow. Image is almost completed with a certain look. So I just edited a little to emphasize it. This is JPEG without any editing except cropping. I like the blue on shadow and yellow on the highlights. That's pretty much the look I always make. When you compare this with Sigma and Tamron, obviously ZEISS shifted to cold temperature. I like this kind of look, so I color graded them in that way, of course, but when I just add the contrast and saturation on log footage, not color correcting, not color grading, they already had the cold feel, especially the highlight is so white. Yeah. Looking at some pictures now, well, it's kind of sad. When this cold temperature and the sharpness thing get together, I feel the sorrow from ZEISS image. That means if you want to express that kind of feeling, this lens is just perfect. Not many lenses have certain look originally. At the last, let me talk about some cons and weakness of this lens. First of all, it's autofocus. Basically, it's pretty fast. Even when it's 40mm f2, the focus speed is incredible and it tracks the subject really well. But there is a big focus breathing and the motion is sometimes very quick. I mean, it's too quick, not smooth and natural. And when there is a big gap between shadow and highlight, the focus got lost like this and the motion is, very annoying. So autofocus in video is not 100% reliable like new lenses. Second is too much of sharpness for some people. Well, I think this really sometimes too sharp and contrasty image is the attraction of ZEISS. But definitely it's not for everyone. It's not, easy to handle. Especially when the light is so strong and you don't know how to deal with it, the image could be useless. This lens captures really strong image, so it'll be not easy if you want more versatile image which easy to handle and manage. And like I showed you, the color is not natural. It's not at the, it's not at the center point. Sometimes it's shifted to cold temperature. Of course, you can fix it at the post, but if you like warmer color and you're gonna color grade, and that way eventually the ZEISS color might not fit you. It'll need you to take some time to fix it. I think this angle is not that bad. Like I tried this for the first time today. But yeah, it's not that bad. I think I can use this for the next video, maybe, sometimes, somewhere. Let's continue the video. Okay, that's it. I hope you guys get the idea why I make this video today. So, the new generation accelerates the camera evolution. The strong and high-spec AI will be loaded on the camera, and lenses also will catch up with it, and they will be something so easy to shoot for everybody. But I feel kind of confused. My emotion is a little complicated. It's so good thing, but it's sad at the same time. What is the camera? What is photography? What is the filmmaking? What is the art? And what is creativity? The technology and the creativity, this relationship, cannot describe it by one word, right? The technology evolution of expression is, for example, it's so amazing thing for something very difficult for us to be involved physically, like a sport photography, filmmaking, and journalism and wildlife stuffs, right? Yeah, this lens is same thing. It provides us the super vision beyond the human ability. But I think still they are one of human creative works. But what about the art? What about it? Something people make with technology beyond the human ability too much. Is it art? When we try to express our personal mentality deep inside of us, how can we depend on the technology? Is it that the camera makes it or we make it? Which one? So there was a painting before, and the film photography came after that, and next, the moving picture, motion picture, aka the video. But even though people use the new technology for them, photography and filmmaking have been accepted as the art. Maybe, the new style of the art. Maybe people call like that in old days. I just don't want to be the old type of person who is saying like, it was great time. I know the way the art is changes with time. So I think, maybe we will be using AI to, make the art. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming definitely. But in any generations, one thing has been same all the time. That is, the subject is always our brain, not machine. So this lens, this ZEISS lens can make you feel that way. It provides you the joy of the craft. It reminds you the reason why you grab the camera? So that's exactly why I wanted to talk about the ZEISS today now, even though, you know, I'm breaking my voice like this. I just ran out of that water, so it even, you know, worse. Yeah, anyway, that was the reason. Why ZEISS now? That is the reason. I thought, you know, this would be the great influence for you and for myself, for your creativity and for my creativity. So, thank you for listening. Thank you. I hope this one gives you something very inspiring for your creativity in the future. We are changing, and things are evolving every day. But we must remember the joy of the craft. So, see you soon.